Good evening, everyone. I'm calling to order the meeting of the Middlebrook Elementary School, Booth Hill Elementary School Roof Building Committee. It is 7:32 and I'm Pat Borgeson and I'm the chair of this committee. Before we begin, I'd like to ask for a moment of silence. One of our members, Joy Cologne, she lost her stepfather today. And I know our thoughts and prayers are with her. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is have the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Barbara Crandall, would you call the roll, please?
Chris Bendecki.
He's here.
Here.
Present. Here.
Pat Borgeson.
Here.
Steve Cahill.
Here.
Joy Cologne and Mark Hoffman were not able to attend. Joanne Ornstein. Here. Lynn Salta. Here. Tony Cinto. And Michael Ward.
Okay, well, I just wanted to mention, I invited town council member Mary Isaac to join us tonight because she had some questions about types of roofs, and I know we're going to be talking about the schematic drawings for the roof for the Booth Hill School tonight, and I thought it would be a great opportunity for her to listen and ask questions regarding this. So could you call the roll, Barbara?
I did. You wanted?
Oh, sorry. Almost. Okay, the next thing, I hope everyone had the chance to read the minutes. Could I have a motion to approve them, please?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Okay, were there any corrections or additions to the minutes? Okay, seeing none. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
I need a second.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can I
Second.
get a second?
A second.
Steve Cahill, second. Okay, now I can ask, all those in favor? Aye. Are there any abstentions? Okay, and any nays? Okay, seeing none, the minutes are approved. Okay, our first order of business is for the Middlebrook Elementary School roof project. Dave, could you give us an update? I think I saw some materials there earlier today.
Yeah, Soaktown started mobilizing after the school session ended last week on Thursday. There's a lot of insulation on the site. They're still bringing more materials in. They have not started stripping the old roof yet, but I expect them to start any day as they bring their crew. And I think Monday was the day that they were going to be there in full force. So I think they're still loading the job right now.
Okay.
It's pretty much where we're at. I mean, I think they'll knock it out pretty quickly. They're a big company and they have the horsepower.
Okay. Okay. If there's nothing else about the Middlebrook School roof, I would close this part of the meeting and move on to the Booth Hill section of the meeting. Okay. Okay, so for the Booth Hill section of the meeting, Paul Lisi, can you hear me? I can't hear Paul. Let me just text. Give me a minute. I just sent him a text message asking if he can get on. Well, while we're waiting for Paul, the one thing we could do is we could look at the we can look at the financials for Booth Hill because they did change from the prior month. And so that was included in your packet of materials. And it shows our approval and payment of $2,720 for the partial payment on the schematic design. So that was paid. So Bill, Paul can hear us, but we can't hear him.
So I see Paul is in attendance. He had a microphone active a minute ago, but the problem's on his end. Paul, on the bottom of your computer where the mute button is, if you press the little caret icon, that'll bring up a menu and you can select your microphone and your speakers from there. If you have a webcam, you can start and stop your video with the secondary button there. You can also, if you're having problems with your computer audio, select the switch to phone audio option, and that'll pop up some calling instructions for you to dial in.
Let me just note, Tony, thank you for joining us. Tony joined us. Barbara, did you see he joined the meeting? Okay, great. Tony, the only thing we've really done is approve the minutes from the last month. And Dave Cody updated us that the insulation and more materials have been delivered to Middlebrook School roof, and they're staging the project now. So I guess they anticipate starting in full force on Monday. Tony, did you have a question? It came out garbled. That's the chat. I can't.
Sounds
I
like
can't-
you were eating helium, Tony.
Yeah.
Now you're muted. Still sounds like helium.
You want to use the chat function?
The
We did
chat
it.
function is not enabled in this meeting.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Okay, I had a text from Paul Lisi. He says he's on both computer and phone. Neither is working. He can hear us though. Bill, do you think he should sign out and try to sign in again?
That might be the best option at this point.
Okay, so I'm assuming you heard that, Paul. You should leave us and come back. He said, thank you.
Sure. And I guess if that doesn't work, he can always call in using the phone number on the website for the meeting. He'll come in as a member of the public, but I can control that and bring him in.
Okay,
I will email that number to him.
thank you. So Tony, any luck with your audio? I see Jim Nugent just joined us.
Can you guys hear that?
Yes,
Yeah.
who's talking? Is that Tony?
Yes, I took out the 1985 microphone. Literally, that's what it's from. It's old.
You meaning that's the one that's working or that's the one that wasn't working?
No, this is the one that's working,
Okay,
but it's the one I carried around in my bag for work, extra, in case I needed it, in case of an emergency. All right, hold
well,
on.
good for you.
Just unblock, I mean, just Velcro it. Now I'd update my Zoom stuff. My Zoom stuff was messed up.
Can you hear me now?
Yes,
There we
Paul,
go.
we can hear you.
Great.
All right, I'll mute
Okay.
now so we can hear. Okay.
Wait a second, did you have a question before, Tony, and you were?
Oh, no, I was just telling you, I was just late because the Zoom thing had to be updated. That's all.
Okay, all right. So, well, thank you. And I'm glad
You're
you sound like yourself versus a chipmunk.
Okay.
Okay, all right. So Paul Lisi. We
Yes.
can't.
Sorry about that. I was trying to connect through remotely from my office computer because I'm at home now. That wasn't
Right.
working. So now I emailed myself the link to my personal computer. Now it's
Okay.
working.
Great. All these little shortcuts we learn. Okay.
Yes.
Well, actually, we're at the point where we're ready to discuss the schematic drawings that you sent along to the committee. Could you walk us through these in some way?
Yes. Yeah, I was trying to connect through my office computer so I could share the screen,
Share
but
the
I don't know.
screen.
I don't know if I
Yeah.
could do it. I probably can't do that now.
Right.
But I will, you all have seen the drawings. I can kind of go through the intent.
Yes.
If you've
A
seen
screen.
them.
If you have remote to your office computer, you should still be able to share your screen.
Okay, let me try that.
I would also hold this up. This was the initial roof building assessment, and there are some drawings in here. If you have that from one of our prior meetings, that might also be helpful. Oh, yeah, Polish.
See my screen. Hmm. Wow.
Whoops.
Wow.
Okay.
See if this works.
Okay, thank you.
It's just doing something wrong here. Yeah, it doesn't look like it's working. Can someone else share the drawings by any chance?
I don't think I could. Could somebody else do this?
They're just PDFs.
Right. Let's see. We all received them. Tony, could you share them? I can't hear you. Let me see.
Let me try. I could try sending them. to-
If you allow me to share,
My
I have
person.
it open.
Everybody has the ability to share, so you can go.
Okay.
Okay, thanks, David.
Dave's got it then?
I think
Yes.
so.
All right.
Oh, perfect. Thank you, Dave.
Thank you, Dave.
Hmm.
So cover sheet, information sheet. Yep. Yeah, so these are, again, schematic design drawings, so they're sort of show the general intent of the scope of work. This is the information sheet with some general information. And I don't know if it's all zoomed in here. If you could go to the next, yeah, this is a demolition plan showing all the demolition. One item I wanted to discuss here. See the area that's shaded in? Yeah, right
Yes.
there. That's an asphalt shingle roof that is in good shape. So one of the questions I had was, do we want to include that as part of this project?
Do we know the last time that it was redone?
But I do not know. I could just, from the condition of it, it looks fairly, fairly good shape, but it could be 10 years old or more. I don't know if
I'd have
Dave,
to
if you
do
have
s-
any.
I'd have to do some research to find out. I don't have anything with me right now to give you an answer, but I can look into it tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a small area that would, be minimal impact on the cost of the project. On the other
Is
hand,
that
if
an
it was
asphalt-
just, I'm sorry?
Is that asphalt shingle?
Yeah, that's the only asphalt shingle roof on the building. It's almost like Middlebrook, actually, which has that little asphalt
Yeah,
shingle roof
That's the TLC space, if I'm correct.
at
Tomorrow,
Middlebrook.
Paul,
Yeah,
I'll check bids tomorrow, in the last 15 years, whether we did anything. I know we just had a Hillcrest and some other roofs, but not Booth Hill since I've been here, 10 years.
okay. So yeah, the major roof we're replacing, removing all the existing roof membrane, all the existing insulation, all the way down to the structural deck, and replacing with new. So this demolition drawing is showing all that work. And then the next drawing is the new, which basically is indicating, all new insulation, all new roofing membrane. The areas that are what we call the folded plate roofs, which are those unique areas, right? There's two of those.
Right.
Those are being treated a little bit differently, simply because of the unique shape of the roof. But otherwise, this will be a 30-year. I assume you want a 30-year warranty, similar to what we're doing at Middlebrook. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think we did the option for a 20 on the last one, and it wasn't worth the deduct. We kept it under budget going with the 30-year roof, so that's how it got awarded. Yeah.
Right. So we should proceed with a
Just let
30-year.
me- Yeah,
Well, considering this roof is from 1991, I'd say yes.
Paul, you could do the same thing you did at Middlebrooks and all, but like
Yeah,
Dave said,
yes.
there was some, emphasis, money difference. It wasn't worth it. But if you think there's out there, I don't know.
so could I just
Yeah.
put in 2 cents here? Because I remember from one of our prior conversations, Dave and Kevin, that what the state reimburses for, they have the 20-year warranty. So any excess that we would pay for the material or 30-year, that would be on us. Am I correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, that's correct. Dave, you're on mute.
That's correct.
Yeah.
But we're talking the delta, the incremental cost at the 34% reimbursement. So it really narrows down to a, not a
Exactly.
very significant amount. And I know we were under budget, or within budget on the Middlebrook, I think. So it was decided to go with it. So
So we'll employ the same strategy, basically.
I think it makes sense.
Okay, yes, that works. This drawing is the tapered insulation layout. The tapered insulation, it's provided in different sections, so they literally sort of stack it up. If you actually scroll up a little bit more, you can see the detail at the bottom.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, I don't see it. Yeah, there it is at the bottom. So they're tapered sections which basically build up to a certain point. And that gives us the proper pitch. So, we will have, once this roof is completed, we will have the proper slope to meet current standards, and we will have the proper insulation to meet the current standards for the R value, for energy, to meet the energy codes to today's standards, which just changed again this past October. There was a new building code that was put into effect. There's been a little bit of a change in that. So we will still be complying with the most recent building code. And these are just some of the details that we started for developing. Your typical parapet condition, drain conditions, expansion joints, scuppers, pipe penetrations, and so forth. Again, this is a schematic design, so we still have a lot of work to do. But this sort of shows the general intent of the scope.
What about the drains? Are they gonna be able to handle this, or we need new drains systems, bigger pipes?
No, on Middlebrook, we the primary drains, the piping for the primary drains are being reutilized. We're putting in new drain, the actual drain itself, like you see in this detail, the strainer.
Yeah.
That ties into the existing piping. And then at Middlebrook, we actually had to introduce overflow drains, which is also a new code requirement. If we were not going for state reimbursement, we would not have to do that because it's just a roof replacement. But because we are going for state reimbursement, we are required to provide some sort of overflow. Now, in this case, unlike Middlebrook, there are drains here that are on the perimeter of the building. So what that does is that if you go back, Dave, to the roof plan. One more after that. Yeah. Yeah, if you keep going. Okay, yeah, you see, right, yeah. So the drains are unlike at Middlebrook. At Middlebrook, many of the drains were in the center of the roof. Here, they're on the perimeter mostly. So what that does, that instead of having to provide a secondary overflow drains internally and having to run them in the building, that's what we need to do at Middlebrook. Here, we actually, because they're on the perimeter, we could simply provide overflow scuppers, which is basically just, in simple terms, it's sort of a little notch in the fascia that will allow the water to spill over the roof in the event that the drains are clogged.
Okay.
So that, that saves us a lot, that saves us some money and just the logistics of having to run piping in the building. There might be a few cases where we still have to do that, but I would say 90% of this roof can be handled with overflow scuppers for the emergency overflow.
Great.
Yep. So it'll be a 90 mil EPDM. Oh, and Pat, you were mentioning about the cool roof.
Yes, I asked you, could you talk about a cool roof? Because one of the things that the town does is we go through this certification to determine what our status is. Mary, maybe you want to take over. Mary Isaac brought this to my attention, but one of the issues was one of the factors that could increase our rating would be that we would have a cool roof. But Mary, can you chime in?
Yeah, I'm on the Trumbull Sustainable Team, which is part of the state Sustainable CT initiative. And there's 11 different categories that we have to show improvement in or show that the town is a sustainable town. As related to buildings, some of them are HVAC, air quality, energy efficiency, solar. Cooling roof is a new one this year that's come up, and we're just at that point of trying to recertify. And while it's a lot of points to get, it's a lot of work. We also want to do things for the right reasons. So it's kind of a twofold. So if we have opportunities where we can make changes that is not going to put the town out financially, or as Kevin knows, purchasing, Dimitri, when you're going out and doing things in the parks and you're saying no pesticides. So we're not trying to handicap, but just trying to see where can we do better for the town or increase some of our sustainability. So cool roofs had come up, and being that I'm not into buildings, I really don't know much about it. And I wanted to see if that's something you were looking at.
Right.
And the ability, I know Pat had said the ability to add solar at another point was
Yes.
discussed previously. So I just wanted to get on just to kind of hear some of your thoughts. And thank you for including me.
Right. Yeah, the roof will be designed so that the solar panels could be installed in the future, as we did with Middlebrook. So that's not a concern. As far as the cool roof, and I'm sure Dave can chime in on this as well. Typically that requires a white membrane, basically. And what that does is, reflects the sunlight. So it results in a cooler roof. The problem is that, in this climate, you typically are more concerned about heating than you are with cooling. So it typically doesn't make sense in this environment to do a cool roof. And it's something that was, started a few years ago, and some folks were doing that, some communities were doing it. However, it got to the point where they were realizing that the benefit was really not there in this climate, where heating is more of a concern than cooling. Dave, would you agree with that? What are your thoughts on this?
100%. For the 3 or 4 months out of the year that the benefit of being able to reflect the heat gain coming onto that roof, there's a lot of other issues that it needs to be maintained differently. We need to have people up there removing any kind of staining, because then that starts to defeat the purpose. So it does require a little more work on, Board of Ed's part. Not to say that that's a bad thing, but, with staffing levels and all of that, having the guys up there doing cleaning a roof and clearing it all the time, I think, every few years, I think is going to be a lot of work for the amount of gain. I don't see it. We do propose that this building should get solar panels, so I think we will meet a sustainability effort there. So I don't know. I'm not totally against it. I just think I don't think there's a cost implication to it. Do you, Paul?
Minimal cost.
Minimal, right?
It is a little more. It is.
You don't
white roof
see
is
a
a
lot
little
of white
expensive.
membrane being done in New England. That's
No, you don't. And another thing to point out is maybe it's not so much of a condition of an issue here, but there's cases where you've had these white roofs installed, and if you can imagine the glare off of them, and there's people that have complained that live nearby, they're looking from their second story window onto some of these roofs, and it's blinding, so that, I've heard of those issues in some cases. It's not a good thing.
Yeah, with those pitched roofs on the octagonal or hexagonal sections, would that may be an issue? I don't know.
No,
Yeah.
that all makes sense. Thank you. I just wanted to, address it and to see if there was an option, but, the rationale for not makes definite sense.
Okay. I think with the increased insulation, I think there's going to be a big benefit to the building's heating loss. I think there's going to be a big impact to the utility usage in the building because of the new insulation requirement. We're going to notice it right away, I feel.
Absolutely, yes.
Do people have questions for Paul or Dave at this point? Okay, it's quiet. So, I guess what I might do is, if we don't have, well, I have one more question for Paul. I was reading, Jim Nugent, if you're on, I was reading the building committee rules and it says, assuming we accept the schematic drawing and we approve it and we want to bring it to the town council for approval, which is what the plan was. It says that at the same time, the committee shall submit to the town council a copy of an impact statement required by Chapter 3, Section 12E of the town charter and the comments of the fire marshal. So I believe we got the comments of the fire marshal for Middlebrook, and Paul, I don't remember about the impact statement for Middlebrook. Do you recall how you handled that?
Yes, the fire marshal was not a problem. The impact statement, I don't recall, to be honest with you.
Okay, I honestly don't recall it either, but I do remember the fire marshal and I remember it came up at a meeting. So Jim Nugent, are you on?
Yes. Can you hear
Okay.
me?
Yes, now I can hear you. Great. So my question is, you heard what I just read, right? Or do you
Yes.
need? Okay, so what do we do? Can we just, if we decide in the form of a motion that we accept these schematic drawings and we want to bring them to the town council, we should be getting certainly the comments of the fire marshal to go along with that as part of the resolution, because that's information that's required in this. What about this impact statement?
I don't recall ever having seen one submitted to the council.
Okay,
So I
that's-
would suggest when you go in front of the council with the schematic design and the fire marshal's
right.
letter, sign off, whatever she's going to give you, you just ask if they want one and it can be submitted at a later time. It doesn't seem to have been something that is really much of a focus for them.
Okay, fine. All right. Well, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask someone to make a motion. And I had talked to Cindy Caskey, who couldn't be here tonight, and she recommended. So I'm going to ask someone for a motion that we submit the preliminary plan and specification for the Booth Hill Elementary School roof project to the town council for approval at the July 6th meeting. Would someone make that motion?
I will make that motion.
That's Joanne Glasser-Orenstein.
Dornstein, yeah.
Okay, there's a motion on the
I-
floor. We need
yeah.
a second. Can someone second this motion?
I'll second the motion. Lynn Salter, committee member.
Thank you. Okay, we have a motion on the floor and it's been seconded. Is there
I do
discussion?
have one comment I meant to say before that, sorry, I'm
Fine.
losing consciousness every once in a while. Which is, I think at a prior meeting, we discussed that one part of the roof, that little shaded area. and said that it did not seem worthwhile to retain that part. I could be mistaken, but I do remember having that conversation. I think it was the same time we talked 20 versus 30 years. I think it was the same meeting. But as it came completely lay person that knows nothing really about roofs, I will say it does seem silly to preserve one tiny little part of the roof that may make the actual work more complicated. So I just wanted to mention that.
How do other people feel about that? Anybody else want to contribute to that? I
What
was
about
just,
the people who actually know?
yeah, I think it should be the people who actually know. I mean, maybe we can, like Kevin had said before, maybe we just have that as. an
Personally,
option.
I think we need a little time to look at that roof and have, I need to have a little discussion with Paul Lisi about the condition, and just see what's the age of that roof and whether it's worthwhile pursuing. It's a small area. It's, Paul, you said it was a shingle roof, right? Asphalt shingle?
Asphalt shingles, correct. Yeah, it actually, honestly, makes it more complicated than doing it than not doing it, because it's a, it's different roof.
Different type of
system.
roof.
Yeah, so the contractor needs to bring in other materials, and so it's actually easier not to do it than it is to do it.
And that's a higher pitch than the rest of the roof, isn't it, Paul?
Oh, yes, yeah, that's probably 6 and 12 or something like
Yeah.
that.
Dave
Okay,
will
well,
have
I
recourse
completely
on the court.
defer to the experts. It was just the thought in my head.
Okay,
That, thank you.
I appreciate that.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor. It's been seconded. Is there further discussion on this? Okay, I'd like to ask for a vote. All those in favor of this motion, please say aye.
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 Are there any people who are opposed to this? Okay. Are there any abstentions for any reason? Okay, the motion carries and it's unanimous. Okay, thanks, everybody. Paul Lisi, will you be able to get a letter from the fire marshal so we can submit that with these drawings for that meeting?
Yes, I will. I made a note to myself to reach out to her. We'll
Okay.
do that prior to the July 6th meeting.
Yes, so what happens is before the town council meeting, there is always a committee meeting ahead of time where everything is reviewed. And it should be available for that meeting. And Cindy also gave me, Cindy gave me the date of that. So let me just double check. I think I wrote a message to you. It's the 29th of June.
Yes.
Okay, yes.
What is
So you'll
what
need,
is the last day that we need to have that to the council to be posted for the meeting? Do you know?
I don't know. I will check and get back to you.
but at least by the 29th, I would assume?
Yes, absolutely.
I think it's got to be before then.
But I think it's before then. I will check with Cindy and find out. Actually, Jim Nugent might know. Do you know?
What exactly was the question?
The question was, what's the last day we can get it to Cindy for posting before the committee meeting prior to the town council meeting?
Oh, the committee of the council.
Right.
Is that what you mean?
Yes.
Well, usually
So-
public agendas, I think that they have to be up 48 hours before meeting. I
Okay.
think that's the number.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to confirm with Cindy when she needs the material. And I will get back to both you and Paul. How's
I
that?
will speak with Megan Murphy tomorrow as well, just to kind of let her
you.
know that we
Heads up.
need this in a very quick fashion, and I'll research on that impact to see if that's anything that's extensive to.
Yeah,
prepare.
regarding, I'm sorry. regarding the impact, I mean, it's a pre-existing school with a pre-existing roof that, it's not like there's something new going up.
Not like
I
we're
can't
breaking
imagine
ground.
there'd be any impact on the, that's right.
Okay. Okay, well, that concludes the business of this meeting. Does anyone have anything else they'd like to bring before our committee to discuss tonight? If not, I would welcome a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn. Joanne Glasser Ornstein.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody, for coming. I don't think we should set another meeting date, so until we have more information. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you.
Can I-
Good night.
Appreciate it.